Hi, I'm Annabelle, and I'm going to talk with June, Tina, and Anessa about the risks of earthquakes in Tangshan, China. When the when stress is released at a fault, the ground shakes in a geophysical event called an earthquake. The collision between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate causes a lot of earthquakes in Asia, and these earthquakes can have very large maximum magnitudes. Earthquakes are especially likely in and near Tangshan, China, because the city is near several active faults. One of the deadliest modern earthquakes was the 1976 Tangshan earthquake. This devastating earthquake occurred along a strike-slip fault called the Tangshan Fault, and it had a moment of magnitude of 7.6. While the government reports that 242,419 people were killed, it was probably closer to 560,000 people. Also, most buildings were made of unreinforced masonry at the time, so 93% of residential buildings were destroyed.
The first geological risk factor of Tangshan earthquake is the fault system, which is a sharp slip fault. Before the earthquake, researchers did not pay attention to the fact that the fault was oriented north to northeasterly. The second is seismic activity, mainly due to the mutual activity of Eurasian plate and Pacific plate, which has accumulated a certain amount of energy to be released. Next, there is a history of many small earthquakes. 1 year before the Tangshan earthquake, which was in 1975, an earthquake of magnitude 7.3 occurred in Tangshan. Between 2012 and 2019, earthquakes of magnitude 4.5 to 4.7 occurred. Until the most recent one, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake occurs in 2020. Then, for the last, there are geological conditions, probably due to the liquefaction of part of the soil in Tangshan, due to several small earthquakes, which lead to severe damage to 85% of buildings in 1976 earthquake. Yeah. Thank you.
Tangshan has a very high population density of approximately 588 people per square kilometer, which is almost 15 times denser than the population density of America. Therefore, residents will be largely impacted once the earthquake happens. Moreover, Tangshan is an important heavy industrial city in North China, and one crucial railway that connects Beijing and the north part of China also passed through it. In this case, with the earthquake, the traffic in surrounding areas and the economy of the whole country will be affected. Fortunately, Tangshan has a very good preparation and mitigation for earthquake. During the enormous earthquake in 1976, 96% of buildings in Tangshan were destroyed. In reconstruction, the neighborhood was built lower than 6 floors with large space in between, and all buildings are required to withstand an earthquake intensity of at least 8. We can see from this picture that there's a large park in this community where people can hide from the collapse of buildings, and there's some lower buildings that are probably built during the reconstruction. In terms of preparation, every key location, like supermarket and school, has an earthquake emergency plan. And there's a consistent and adequate education for all citizens, either by government or volunteering organization, as shown in the picture. And the city has reserved various disaster relief supplies, which has a value of more than $2.5 million. Through this adequate preparation, the disaster caused by the earthquake in Tangshan and surrounding areas will be largely minimized.
The earthquake that took place in Tangshan, China, had many impacts. Its immediate impacts were that there was a loss of 85% of the multi-story buildings, which predominantly were used as homes. Originally, there was an estimated 160,000 people who died directly after the event because of how early that the event occurred and many were sleeping. Lots of people lost access to power and water and were not able to access the roadways because of all the debris. Since debris filled the streets, it caused a lot of delayed response for the emergency responders, which caused the locals to spring into action to aid each other. Short-term effects were that there was an estimated to be up to 655,000 deceased, but reported as 240,000 people confirmed. Around $10 billion in losses for the Chinese economy due to the damages of buildings. Long-term effects were that the physical health of the survivors had taken a toll. Many people saw an increase in health issues such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease. In all, there was a total of 242,769 deaths.
Luckily, Tangshan has a strong earthquake response protocol today. As Tina described, Tangshan rebuilt itself with earthquake-resistant buildings after the 1976 Tangshan earthquake. Today, Tangshan has 16 earthquake emergency rescue teams and plenty of emergency supplies. Finally, the city monitors for several signs of seismic activity, and its macro monitoring and reporting stations communicate earthquake information.
There are many actions that can be taken to help mitigate the impacts of earthquakes. Here I have listed 3 tasks that can be used in the future planning in an event of an earthquake. They can build more earthquake and tsunami-resistant infrastructures, which is the job designated to the local government to provide and maintain the upkeeping of these. They can implement early warnings, EEWs, within the various infrastructures such as schools, places of business, which is another job that is designated to the local government. They can also conduct routine earthquake drills in schools and places of business to be better prepared, which is another job that is left up to the public outreach to get this done. In 1991, the Chinese government had followed the new building safeties that aids in the earthquake resistance.
Here's our website page. All the resource or information are for our use for our report are right here.
For the accessibility, we're going to upload this video on YouTube so that everyone could learn about this risk assessment and cite it if needed. Also, we put a descriptive caption under all the image so that we're going to make our presentation more impressive and specific.
Thank you.